Basically what I'm saying is her writing is addictive, and I can see myself flying through this. This was a very long intro. These are what's happening in my brain right now. Welcome to Kelsey's brain. It's chaotic. I am 4 days into this readathon and my plans are already out the window. This does not bode well.
Yeah, I thought so. Holy shit. Holy shit. Holy shit. I guess Levi's done eating his potatoes. Out of curiosity.
So they would all work to read right away. I just don't know what to do is really what's happening. This is going to be a really tough book to get through because the writing also, the writing sucks. Hello everybody, my name is Kelsey and we're about to get very, very nerdy for the first week of the Orilium Magical Readathon. First vlog for whatever. So it is the very first day of August, which means that we are starting the Magical Readathon. I could have started 3 days ago. I can't remember exactly why, but there was something. We reached a goal or something the last time we did this, so we all could have started 3 days early, but I was still in the middle of reading other things, so we're not going to do that. And if I need it, I'm just going to add 3 days on at the beginning of September if I need it, but we'll see. So if you've seen my TBR, I'll leave it linked above and down below if you'd like to check it out if you haven't already. You know that I have ambitious plans for August. I mean, I always do when it comes to the Magical Readathon, but this year, back in April, I decided to add a second career on, knowing that I was going to be fine in April and I was going to stress in August. So we've reached the stress stage. So the game plan, because I haven't made one. I usually don't make one for my readathons. I just kind of like look at what I need to read and then I go with the flow and then I stress at the end of the month. So going in, we're gonna have a game plan. The game plan is to do the career that is the one that I started last year. So the Master of Elements is the one that I went with, and that's only 8 prompts. So my plan is to focus on those 8 first, and then the second career that I added earlier this year was the Wild Form Druid, and that has 10 total prompts. Now there is some overlap of those two, but because I think I only have a total of like 15 prompts that I need to read, but I'm going to focus on the 8 first, and then we'll get to the other ones. And I did pretty good. I have a lot of shorter things. I have a lot of audiobooks on this list, which is great because that's how I listen to a lot of, or like that's how I read a lot of things nowadays, but I have a lot of graphic novels, I've got some manga, I've got a lot of different options here. But the thing that I'm going to start the readathon with, the first book that I'm going to read, is totally different than the mood that I've been in lately, which is exciting for me because I have been one-track fantasy brained for like months now, which is not a problem. I do love fantasy. I still want to read it. I still have a lot of fantasy on this list, but the fact that I'm now wanting to read other things is exciting. So I'm going with the mood reading, which is great because this is actually one of the things that is on that like required Master of Elements, and that is going to be Love on the Brain by Allie Hazelwood. So I have the audiobook from my library and I am going to dive into this one starting today. I am really excited about it. I don't remember a lot about it, but Allie Hazelwood has done, it's not really a series because they don't go together, but she has what's called STEM romances, and so all of her romances include women in STEM. And so this one revolves around NASA, and the first one was like a fake dating trope. I loved her first book, The Love Hypothesis. I thought it was so good, so I'm really excited to dive into this one. I don't have the third one yet, which is fine, and I think she has even a 4th one out. I know she's got a collection of novellas, but anyway, I have really enjoyed her writing, so I'm really interested to see. And this one I think is also a kind of hate to love, because like I said, it takes place in NASA. We follow our main character, Bree, who is in charge of her own team, but because she's a woman in NASA, she's not thought like people don't take her as seriously as they do other people. And then she's teamed up with a co-lead named Levi, who is her nemesis from grad school or something like that. They know each other, and so it's their relationship. So I think we're gonna have a lot more conversation about women in STEM. The first one definitely had some. That one I think dealt with a lot of stuff, but particularly like sexual assault within a STEM academic setting. This one, I think we're going to focus more on the sexism element of working in STEM, just based on what the back says. So this is what I'm starting with. It is for the class astronomy. So this is the only thing that I need for astronomy. I only need one instead of all three, like for both careers. So that's very exciting. So this is what I'm going to start with. It is a contemporary romance. I'm really excited about it. I don't know why, but the minute that my library audiobook was available, like I put it on the wait list, just hoping that I was going to get it in the month sometime. And for some reason, this one was just like, you must read right now. And so I was like, all right, let's just go with the flow. So that's what we're doing. We're going to go with this one. And then I think also I'm going to read two at the same time. Maybe I'm going to start the other book that I think is the only one besides a manga. No, there's one short story, but this is the only like full length thing that I don't have an audiobook for, and that is Earth. And this is by Helen Perry. This is a Kindle Unlimited book that I've got. It's a reverse harem. It's a fantasy sci-fi story. I say sci-fi question mark because like the cover makes me think that it's going to take place on a different planet, but I don't actually know. This one is for the first class of elemental studies, which I do need for my Master of Elements. This is just to have the word Earth in the title. So this one is going to be interesting because I don't really know. I did kind of look into it before I decided to read it because I wanted to make sure it was going to be something that I enjoyed and I wasn't just picking it for the sake of it. Let me tell you, finding something with Earth in the title was ridiculously difficult. I found so many nonfiction books about Earth in the title, and then I found a couple of books like the Broken Earth trilogy by N.K. Jemisin, but I really wanted to focus on Earth being in the title and not the series title, even though I know I could have done that. So I went with this one. I've never read Reverse Harem before, but I've heard good things. I've read, like, Katie Robert has done some Troubles before, so I know kind of what to expect in that instance, but I don't know, because I know Reverse Harem is, I think, usually more. I think it's at least 3 guys. I don't really know what I'm talking about here. So we'll see, but this is on my Kindle and I'm going to probably start this. I want to start this one early because I don't know how long it's going to take for me to actually sit down and read it because it's going to be a physical read. So I want to give myself as much time. So do I expect to finish this one this week? I don't know. I mean, it's probably pretty short, but I want to start this one as soon as possible. So I'll probably start that one tonight before bed just to say that I did. But that's my plan, is a contemporary with love on the brain and then a Kindle book. So that's my plan to start off. I don't know where I'm going to go from there. I might try to fit in some things, like I ended July with historical romance, which I haven't read in a hot second, so I'm kind of feeling that as well. So I think I just want to go with a wide variety of genres right now, because I love fantasy. Like I said, it's not that it's like I've tired myself out of fantasy, specifically fantasy romance. Like, I don't think that's even possible, but I think I'm looking for a break, so I might like break up the fantasy with some other things. I think I'm just gonna feel it out and see what happens. So I'm looking at my TBR on my computer over here, and I have a pretty wide variety of things. So that's the plan. I don't have any particular plans for the week as far as exciting things. Got some household type things I need to do. I need to get my bullet journal for, like, specifically my Orilium bullet journal. I've got my normal monthly bullet journal pretty well taken care of, but I haven't touched the Orilium one since the end of last time. Like, I didn't even put in the page of the books that I finished from April. So I really need to at least plan that out. So I might do that while I'm listening to my audiobook. I've got some other just random stuff on my to-do list. So I don't know what this week's gonna look like for you as far as like what you guys are seeing. I don't have any, like, I'm looking at my calendar and I don't have any exciting plans until later on in the month. So let's see what happens. I'll come back to you maybe when I've started this. I don't know how, it depends on how invested I get, because I remember when I read the first one, I finished that and like, I think it took me a couple of days, like 3 days, because I was at work while I was reading, but I think I could have finished it in like a day or two. Basically what I'm saying is her writing is addictive, and I can see myself flying through this. This was a very long intro. These are what's happening in my brain right now. Welcome to Kelsey's brain. It's chaotic.
These skies have a different light, white noise that keeps me up at night. I can't help but think back to you. I wish that I could find a face that I would recognize. I replay the memory of you. It's been hard, you know I wanted to stay, caught us off guard, but there was no other way. Did you wait? 'Cause I've been counting the days, and I'm calling up to say I'm coming home to you. I'm coming home to you. I'm coming home to you. And I know that it's time home with you, but I'm coming home. Hold on to my embrace, this time I promise it won't break. I'm hoping that things haven't changed. Life took us far apart, but it never took away my heart. Have you been holding it safe? 'Cause it's been hard, you know I wanted to stay, caught us off guard, but there was no other way. Did you wait? 'Cause I've been counting the days, and I'm calling up to say I'm coming home to you. I'm coming home to you. I'm coming home to you. And I know that it's time home with you, but I'm coming home. I'm coming home. We'll stay up till morning and head out exploring, make up for months that we've missed. 'Cause the cold air is calling and my head's recalling the moment that I was convinced. We'll stay up till morning and head out exploring, make up for months that we've missed. 'Cause your lips are calling and my heart's recalling the way I could never resist. It's been so hard, but no, I wanted to stay, caught us off guard, but there was no other way. Did you wait? 'Cause I've been counting the days, and I'm calling up to say I'm coming home to you. I'm coming home to you. I'm coming home to you. And I know that it's time home with you, but I'm coming home to you. I'm coming home to you. I'm coming home to you. And I know that it's time home with you, but I'm coming home to you.
Hello. I just finished filming my July wrap-up. If you could tell by the outfit. I'm taking my earrings out though because these things are heavy. So I'm here to give you some updates. I sat down and I forgot to grab the freaking book, but I finished it. I finished Love on the Brain like 2 days ago. And it got 5 stars. It was impeccable. It was amazing. Okay, I have it here. I loved this. It was perfect, exactly what I needed. It was a 5-star, which was really exciting to start off August with a 5-star, considering that I got 0 5 stars in the month of July. I need to chill is what needs to happen. I missed reading contemporary romances, and I didn't know I missed it until I started this book and couldn't put it down. Like, I literally finished half of this in bed on the first day, and then the second half of it in bed the next night. So I loved it so much. This book, I don't know if I told you a lot, well, I kind of gave you an idea about what it's about. We follow our main two characters, Levi and B, who were rivals from grad school. B never really have a problem with Levi, but Levi always put off this air of like having issues with her, and there's some stuff with her ex-fiance that comes up, and her ex-fiance is kind of a jerk and lies and is awful and slept and cheated on her like with 10,000 different people, including her best friend. So she's got some issues with that. But the story starts when she moves to Houston, or is it Houston? She moves to Texas because that's where NASA is, and she's working on this project called Blink, which is a helmet. I don't fully understand what the point of it is. And I do. It's supposed to like help astronauts in space and help their accuracy of certain tasks. So you have the engineering side, which Levi is in charge of, and then you have the like neurology side, which is the brain stuff, and that's her and her assistant. So her team is literally her and her assistant, and then you've got Levi's team of like 10 plus people. So there's a lot of stuff with this book. So you've got that relationship, which is definitely an enemies to friends to lovers situation going on. A lot of misunderstanding from their grad school days. But this, which is what I expected it to do, the story starts with her moving there and none of her equipment is ready. And so because of that, she can't do anything. And then her boss is a total idiot and jerk and is getting on her for not doing anything for a week because he's got the big bad congressman on his back about this. And it's a combined project with NASA and the NIH, which I can never remember what it stands for, but it's basically like she works with the NIH and he works with NASA. And it's a battle of politics between the two of them, or the two rival companies, and that's causing a lot of issues. The fact that she is a woman in STEM is also causing a lot of issues, and so that's a huge conversation. I don't think there's any like specifically big trigger warnings in this book, but there is some representation. I think B has a chronic illness. I don't actually know what she calls it, but I think it would be technically categorized as chronic illness because she has issues with her brain, and so certain things make her pass out very quickly. And she is known to pass out like many times. Like it's not uncommon for her to pass out when she is being confronted by something that scares her. For example, a spider. At one point, there's a young girl, like a kid in this book, who has a plushy spider, and she shows it to B, and B just straight up passes out because she's afraid of spiders. So you've got that element, and then there's certain things like if she gets really stressed or she's like on the verge of a panic attack, she'll pass out. And it's things like that. I can't remember what it is. I'm really bad at that, but I felt like that was interesting to have that element as well. And I just really enjoyed them. Their character development and their characters, I fell head over heels for them from day one. There's a lot of this book trope-wise that I know I could have guessed how it was going to end. There's definitely one plot thing that we get from the front page, or from the first chapter, let's say, not the front page. There is like this whole thing with Twitter. She's in charge of this Twitter account called What Would Marie Curie Do? Because she's obsessed with Marie Curie, and it's her way of like getting her frustration about being a woman in STEM out in the world. And so a bunch of women and men join and talk about this kind of stuff with her. And so she made a friend on there that she doesn't know the identity of. Well, I could guess what it was from the first page. So that was not a big reveal, and I don't know if the author was hoping that to be a big reveal, but I don't think it was. I think it was very obvious from the get-go who that was. And so I don't know if that didn't hinder my enjoyment. I still enjoyed the book. I thought it was great. This book was really funny as well. I can't remember if the love hypothesis was funny, but B's inner monologue, I laugh out loud multiple times. Now, some of it could be attributed to the fact that the narrator was perfect for this role and she delivered those lines beautifully, but B's inner monologue is so funny and I loved it. So I just really enjoyed them as a couple. So yay, I finished my very first book. I've already put it in online. This was for my O. In astrology, I can never remember what it is. Wait, artificery. I think it's artificery. Hold on, I used this bookmark. Nope, it was astronomy. I don't know where I got art fishery from. So I read that. It was great. I loved it. Perfect. I started Earth. I am 2 chapters in, and I already kind of hate it. It's the weirdest thing because, like, literally the first 2 chapters is a sex scene between our main female character and 2 guys that she just randomly met. They give me the ick because I think they're supposed to be something else. Like, I don't know, but they feel like they're not actually who they say they are. And also stops before they actually have sex. So it's not a sex scene, but it is a sex scene. And then the 3rd chapter starts with her doing something completely different. So I stopped after the first 2 because I just wanted to start the book. And this is going to be a really tough book to get through because the writing also, the writing sucks. So I don't really know where we're going to go. So I did start it. So I wanted to tell you that I started it, but it's not looking promising. And this is not a prompt that I can, like, find something else for because it took me 10,000 years to find something that had Earth in the title to begin with. So, we're just gonna have to suffer through. It's not very long, so hopefully I can dive into it more. I mean, we're only on the 4th of the month, so we have the entire month, so I can stretch it out if I need to and kind of break up the bad. Or it could just get better. I don't know. It could just be a really tough start. I don't know, but that I started it. And it just isn't going well. And then, that's really, well, okay. So remember I told you that I had a plan and I was going to go in and do the things, and well, guess what? The plan is now out the window. Because I started yesterday. It Happened One Summer by Tessa Bailey, which is not on any TBR except for my summer TBR. And I got it from the library. And because I enjoyed Love on the Brain so much, I was really feeling that contemporary romance vibe. And I really want to give Tessa Bailey another chance because the first book I read was, I just talked about it, My Killer Vacation. And that was not great. I mean, it was fine. It was just kind of middle of the road. And so I wanted to give her another chance. And I heard good things about this book. And I made it halfway, just a little bit before halfway, before today, and I think I'm on like 60-something% at this point. I love this book. It's amazing. So I think what I'm doing is I'm using it for the 2nd in astronomy, because technically, and I don't need this. I don't need this prompt. I only need you to get one grade. I only need to read one thing for astronomy, and here I am reading a 2nd thing. Because the 2nd one was, what is it? Qualified? I can't remember what the 2nd one is. You needed to read something from a finished series, and there's only 2 books in the series because it's called the Bellinger Sisters series, and so the first one follows Piper, and the 2nd one follows Hannah. And so there's only 2, and that's it. So it is a finished series, which is why I'm going to be using this. But I'm in love. It's gonna get 5 stars. Like, there's not really anything that's going to tell me it's not going to get 5 stars. So I thought I'd mention it because I have started it, even though it's not for something I need. I'm going to make it work for a prompt. I am 4 days into this readathon and my plans are already out the window. This does not bode well. I'll tell you what this is about. So a lot of people kind of presented this as, like, if you like Schitt's Creek, you would enjoy this. It follows our main character, Piper, who is a party girl. Her stepfather is in the entertainment industry. I think he's a script writer, and so he's got a lot of money. And so her mom married him when they were really young because their dad died when they were both 4, or she was 4, and her sister, because her sister Hannah's a little bit younger than her, and so. Anyway, that's not important. He's been basically their surrogate father for a long time. And so they don't really know anything about their dad because their mom was so hurt by his passing that, like, she doesn't really ever talk about him. And so she moved away from the hometown, the fishing town that he grew up in, because she was so hurt by everything. So stuff happens. And Piper makes a big mess. She always makes a mess, but she makes an even bigger mess. And so her stepfather is kind of fed up. And so he sends Piper, and Hannah goes with her, even though Piper tells her not to. They both go to this little fishing town because there's a bar there that is, their father has the deeds in their name. And so they own this bar. And so they show up, and there are these two girls from California who have stilettos out the wazoo and are very like fashionista vibes. And they show up in this fisherman town. And so she gets off on the wrong foot with this fisherman named Brendan, and it's their story. And so I love them. 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 And I understand the hype when it comes to Tessa Bailey's writing now because, and I was correct, the previous book I read was really, really short, and so it didn't give a lot of room for character development or plot or anything like that, and so there was a lot to be desired with that one, whereas this one is a regular sized contemporary book. It's a 350 to 400 page book, so it has the room to do what I want it to do, and I already love them. They are in one of the most adult relationships I've read about, because yes, they have issues, everyone has issues, but they're very open about their issues, and they both had kind of like a Lizzie Darcy moment when they met, where they had prejudice against each other, and because of that they had preconceived notions about the other one that were wrong. And so once they discovered that they were wrong about their opinions, they kind of talked about it and like apologized pretty early on about having the wrong opinion about each other and getting to know each other. And they're just cute, okay? Their banter's cute, and I like them a lot. And it's just sweet, and I love it. So, yes, I get the hype behind Tessa Bailey now, and I've heard some good things. There's a couple of lines that I remember reading. I don't remember what they are, but I do remember reading. They were smutty lines, but I do remember reading, which got me interested in this book to begin with, because that's how you tag me. That's how you get me to want to read a book, is you tell me a couple of lines from a smut scene, and I am there. So, unrelated, but I love it. The moral of the story is I started this book because I didn't know when I was going to get to it. I had the audiobook from my library. I needed to send it back, and I decided that that was the vibe I was in. That's the mood I want right now. And so that's what I have done, which is a problem because I have so many other things on this TBR, and most of them are fantasy. And I'm not saying that I'm out of love with fantasy right now, because I'm not, but I'm feeling other things. So the fact that these are romances are probably going to be helpful. I'm looking at my TBR over there. Anyway, I strayed, is what I'm trying to say. I strayed from the plan, and I'm reading this instead right now, and it's fantastic. So I'm probably going to finish this in the next day or two. This first vlog is going to be longer than the other ones because of where it started. So we're going to probably have like 2 weeks worth of stuff in one vlog-ish, but we are going to see Chris's parents this weekend. I don't think we're doing anything fancy besides like going out to dinner, but we will not be home this weekend, so I don't know how much reading I'm going to get done, but I have this book. I have the Tessa Bailey book on my Kindle as well as Earth, so I'll be bringing my Kindle and we'll see how I feel. This is a problem. I have no desire to pick up Earth, and I'm literally only like 10% of the way through the book. I am 2 chapters in, and like 20 pages, I think, and I don't have the right to be this dismissive of it yet, but here we are. Anything could happen now. I've just taken the plan and I've thrown it out the window, so we'll see. We shall see. Hello. I wanted to come real quick and let you know that I finished a book last night, because I did, and it was great. So I stayed up way too late because of course I did, but I finally finished. Finally, it's been like 2 days, but I finished It Happened One Summer last night, super late. Technically it was this morning, and it got 5 stars from me. I loved it. I don't have a lot of different opinions than when I came to you to let you know that I had started it, so it's not like I don't have a lot to tell you, because I just really loved it. It was 5 stars, like I said, and I have really come to love Tessa Bailey's writing style. Her scenes are so well crafted, and the fact that I was able to fall for these main characters so quickly, especially because like Piper is this really spoiled girl at the very beginning of it. Like that's the whole point, is that she's spoiled and sent to this town in like the middle of nowhere almost. Very different than anything else that she's known. And the fact that I feel for her. Like, she may have put herself in a lot of tough situations, but she doesn't have a lot of people in her back pocket besides her sister. So the fact that she comes to this town and has like the people in this town like there for her is really sweet. And the fact that Brendan can be there for her, and like I said in the last time I talked to you, they have really adult conversations, and if he senses there's an issue, he makes sure that they talk about that issue. And I just feel like that was a very adult way to approach things, especially because like in her mind she's only in this town for 3 months and he wants her in his life forever. And so you have that conversation. There's also a conversation because Brendan was previously married and his wife passed away 7 years ago at the beginning of this book, but he's really close with his in-laws still, and they still see him as married to their daughter, even though they haven't been together for a long time. So like that causes some issues, and so that's a conversation that like he forces them to have, basically. And there's just a lot of stuff that they do that I think is very adult at the way that they approach it, and I just loved it. Definitely want to read the second book. I don't want to read it like right away because I kind of have this spot in my heart for Piper and Brendan, and I don't really want anybody else from this world to be in that, you know, even though like the second book follows her sister, and I really love her sister Hannah. I think she's very sweet. I'm interested to see what her story is. It's her and Brendan's best friend. I can never remember his name. Box, something like that. And I really, like, I think they'll be super cute. There was a little chapter, like, bonus scene at the end of this book that was a scene between them that, like, we as the readers didn't see, but it took place during the time of this book. Because, like, Brendan and Piper really needed to have a conversation one time, and so he took the sister to a record store to get them out of the way so that the two of them could talk. And so this little scene is them in the record store. And he's kind of like a ladies' man, and she's still like fallen in love with this guy that she works with. And so there's a lot of that, and I'm interested to see the second part of this, but I just kind of like am so in love with Piper and Brendan that I don't think I can give them the time of day yet, you know? So that's where I'm at. I finished that book, so I've got 2 down. One that I needed, one that I didn't need for either career, but it's fine. And now I'm having a difficulty because I want that romance vibe, but I only have one more contemporary romance on my TBR. Let me pull up my TBR. So I don't know what to read next, is what I'm trying to say, because I'm not feeling Earth, like, just not feeling it. So I'm trying to think of what I have on my TBR, but also what I could realistically read, because like it's Saturday. We don't have a lot of plans for the day, but I'm sure there will be sports watching, so I can read something. And I brought my Kindle, but I didn't bring any of my physical books, which is fine. So I'm trying to see what I have on my Kindle. I know I have The Inadequate Heir, the 3rd book in the Bridge Kingdom series, which is a book that's required for restoration, but that's to start the book before bed. So I can't read that now. I'll have to start that tonight. So I'm not sure if I want to do that yet, because that and then the second book, like the second prompt in restoration is read a book in a different spot each time. And I put the other book from the Bridge Kingdoms, Bridge Kingdoms 3 and 4, book 3 and 4, which will be a different arc. And I know I'm going to want to read those back to back. So I'm afraid to kind of get started on those, but those will have that like romantic element that I'm looking for. The Chronicle of the Bones, which is the 3rd book in the From Blood and Ash series, which is for shapeshifting, which I do need, which is a book that includes his vampires. And that will have some romantic things that I think I'm leaning towards that one more than the others, but all of that works. I also have Deadly Dreams, which is the 3rd book in the Fortune of Sworn series, which will be tougher to read just based on how the second book ended, but that one will have some romantic vibes. Like I want the like fuzzy feelings of a romance, so I'm trying to figure out what to read. I've also got To Spoon and To Spar, which is an option. That's a historical romance, so I have options. I just don't know what I want to go with, and all of those that I mentioned are required for my elemental studies, not elemental studies, my Master of Elements, which is the career that I want to do first, because it's the one that's like the priority for me. So they would all work to read right away. I just don't know what to do, is really what's happening. I'm struggling. I don't know what to pick up next because I want to read so many things. Like the reading mojo that I've been missing, I think I've been reading for the past couple of months, but like the reading mojo of like wanting to constantly read has not been there. It's just been like, oh, I'll read occasionally. I'm not feeling like reading today, so I'll read tomorrow. Whereas now I'm like, I want to read all the time, and that's a good feeling. I want it to continue, so I want to like feed it the vibe that I'm feeling, which is something with romance in it, which is pretty normal for me, but it's very strong right now. So we'll see what I pick up. I'll let you know. Well, you'll see probably in the next clip what I pick up next. I don't know. I don't know. But I just wanted to tell you that I finished It Happened One Summer. And it was fantastic. And I loved it. And I went out and I bought a Kindle copy of it because I needed it immediately, even though the paperback was cheaper. I kind of want the paperback now. I'm having an internal struggle, okay? It was that good. I highlighted the crap out of my Kindle book and tabbed the crap out of my Kindle book, so it was good. Oh, it was so good.
These skies have a different light, white noise that keeps me up at night. I can't help but think back to you. I wish that I could find a face that I would recognize. I replay the memory of you. It's been hard, you know I wanted to stay, caught us off guard, but there was no other way. Did you wait? 'Cause I've been counting the days, and I'm calling up to say I'm coming home to you. I'm coming home to you. I'm coming home to you. And I know that it's hard with you, but I'm coming home. Hold on to my embrace, this time I promise it won't break. I'm hoping that things haven't changed. Life took us far apart, but it never took away my heart. Have you been holding it safe? 'Cause it's been hard, you know I wanted to stay, caught us off guard, but there was no other way. Did you wait? 'Cause I've been counting the days, and I'm calling up to say I'm coming home to you. I'm coming home to you. I'm coming home to you. And I know that it's hard with you, but I'm coming home. I'm coming home. We'll stay up till morning and head out exploring, make up for months that we've missed. 'Cause the cold air is calling and my head's recalling the moment that I was convinced. We'll stay up till morning and head out exploring, make up for months that we've missed. 'Cause your lips are calling and my heart's recalling the way I could never resist. It's been so hard, you know I wanted to stay, caught us off guard, but there was no other way. Did you wait? 'Cause I've been counting the days, and I'm calling up to say I'm coming home to you. I'm coming home to you. I'm coming home to you. And I know that it's hard with you, but I'm coming home to you. I'm coming home to you. I'm coming home to you. And I know that it's hard with you, but I'm coming home to you. These skies have a different light, white noise that keeps me up at night. I can't help but think back to you. I wish that I could find a face that I would recognize. I replay the memory of you. It's been hard, you know I wanted to stay, caught us off guard, coming home to you. I'm coming home to you. I'm coming home to you. And I know that it's time with you, but I'm coming home. Hold on to my embrace this time, I promise it won't break. I'm hoping that things haven't changed. Life took us far apart, but it never took away my heart. Have you been holding it safe?
Hello, I'm here to kind of wrap up the week. It's Friday, and I'm not really probably gonna do any more reading, maybe a little bit before bed, but I thought I'd kind of wrap up a little bit what I've been reading the last couple of days and just a look at the first week as we usually do. So I have been reading The Crown of Gilded Bones, which I am not quite done with, but this will probably be the first thing I finish next week. I am on page 310-ish. So I am like 75%-ish of the way through. So I think I've got a little over 4.5 hours left of the audiobook. So this will be one that I take into next week. I do primarily most of my reading, at least the beginning, will be this book. I'm really enjoying it. I don't think it's as good as the other two. So like if I were to rate it right now, it would be a 4-star instead of a 5-star, but I'm still really enjoying it. And she likes to do a lot of big things at the end. So I still have a lot of this book, way too much of this book left to really have an opinion yet on this book, but I'm really enjoying it. I'm loving a lot of the stuff. There's a lot more world building in this one. We kind of expand on specifically when it comes to Poppy as a character, and there's less romance in this one. There's not no romance, but there's less romance in this one than like the second one, so maybe that's why I just really loved all the romantic elements of the second one, and this one is not as fun when it comes to that. But either way, I'm really enjoying it. There's some stuff going on within the world, and I'm loving it. So that is what I'm going to be taking into next week. And I did actually finish one thing since I've talked to you last, which was the 4th volume of Fence. That one I just decided to read. I can't remember what it was for, but the prompt was like Flora's lava, so I had to read it when my feet were not touching the ground, so I read it in bed a couple of nights ago. It's good. I gave it 4 stars. I don't think it's as good as the one before it, but it's really nice to see kind of the teamwork, because this one primarily focuses on their first their first competition as a team. Now that they have people, the first 3 volumes were kind of like leading up to the team, and now that we're a team, we have our first competition, and everyone is kind of working individually, but they have to work as a team, and so there's a lot of conversation there, especially with one of our main characters, not Nick, the other one that I can never figure out how to pronounce his name. It starts with S. He's the one who's like always been good and is like the best of the best, and so he takes a lot of pressure on his shoulders because of that, and so the team is kind of like them working together a little bit, and I really like it. I liked where it ended. The beginning was kind of boring because not a lot happened, but by the end of the volume we had some answers, and I did look into it, and there's only one more volume that is currently out, and it's still being published, so the 6th volume will come out at the beginning of 2024. So if I could finish the 5th one in the next few months or so, sometime in there, then I can be ready for when the next one comes out. But I'm really enjoying it. Again, not my favorite. I still think the 3rd one is just like, there was something about the 3rd one that I really loved, and this one is good, but we're seeing like more character development, which is nice. You know, I enjoyed that as well. So I finished that one. So as far as my first week goes, I finished 3 books and almost finished a 4th book. I started off the week with Love on the Brain, which I gave 5 stars. I Did It Happen One Summer, which I also gave 5 stars, and then Fence, like I mentioned, which I gave 4, and then The Crown of Gilded Bones, which will be either a 4.5 or a 5-star, depending on how the ending of this goes. I'll take this into next week, and we will see then. I'm on track to finish everything that I need to, which is good, because I think I have to finish 4-ish books, 4 books a week. But I have a lot of like shorter books and graphic novels, so I'm not too worried about that quite yet. And then I've already done some rearranging, I think, for my TBR, but we will talk about that the beginning of next week's vlog. So I hope you guys have enjoyed the look into the first week of the Magical Readathon, and let me know if you're participating and how your reading is going. But if you like this video, and I very much hope that you did, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up and subscribe down below if you'd like to be part of this awesome growing family. I've also got all my social media down there, as well as other fun bookish links, so check all that out. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!